Divine Masculine and Feminine Darlings. This is the Seraphim Gypsy, SeraFae Indigo Empress, and Shiloh Horizon. I don't play. Interesting, the live just crashed. I'm picking up Death Prophecy for some karmics. But let me just start off by saying that while I was taking care of some things today, I got a download to double check some information before sending out some paperwork to make sure the scales of justice were balanced. Dotting I's and crossing T's. I was mopping the same floor that a convicted domestic abuser used to throw me across and use my face as a mop on. Interestingly enough, I have said for some time, 111 on the count, that I would be using these criminals, including this one in particular, to mop the courtroom. I've said for a while I would be mopping the courtroom with them. And interestingly enough, today's his birthday. And interestingly enough, his whole shtick for almost the last decade and slander campaign against me is that he claims that he never abused me. But while I was double checking this information, I got a download to put in the paperwork before sending it off. Was that this particular person was just arrested for domestically abusing someone else on December 7th, 2024. But they've been saying that they were never domestically abusive and that they would never be domestically abusive, but they just got caught doing it not only again, but to someone else. So it shows that I was telling the truth the whole time and that they were lying from the jump. For starters, but let's see what God has to say about it, shall we? Divine Masculine, hear that. Have you eaten? No, I have not. Do I have ingredients out to cook? Yes. We're getting there. Tell me about this. I just heard monster. Tell me about this monster. Failure. Envy. Jealousy. Oh, didn't I just say the slander campaign? Slander, extravagance, ambition, and greed for power. It was all for show. Refusing notoriety, right? Trying to cover up the bad things that were done. I'm not domestically abusive. I've never been domestically abusive, except they just got caught being domestically abusive again. So that wasn't true. Wanting only to enjoy physical resources, and the whole slander campaign against me was so that they could get material gain because they were using trickery to succeed, being a pervert to do it, perverting the system. It's called obstructing the course of justice, aiming too high or too low. And so they were reaching for things, blessings that were not theirs. And low-blowing people to do it. You know what I also noticed? The wicked witch next door that this criminal recruited to try to harass and stalk me. She had all kinds of people outside looking at the damage done to the back of the property. And what it looks like to me is that a beam of lightning struck this tree and split it in half, and half of it fell all through the fence on that property. Not over here. But that's what I remember thinking earlier when I noticed getting the download about, because this came out a few weeks ago. And there it is. Hey! Stop that. Both of you. It's unnecessary. You see them picking up on that energy, though? Excess. They were gluttonous. He was gluttonous. May 11th to May 15th. March 31st. June 13th in the afternoon. June 24th. You know what? I think it was June or July 13th that one of these people in particular sat in a court and lied to a judge. August 28th, November 9th, January 19th, 3:20 a.m. to 3:39. Illness, disease, medicine without conscience, exactly. So Munchausen by proxy was also part of this incident, unfortunately. Using medicine solely for material gain, right? Like paying corrupt professionals to lie because they have malpractice lawsuits that they'll face otherwise, and they're also being paid to do it. They were. Pollution that is harmful to vegetation and the environment. Corrupt feelings and undertakings. These people might litter also. Difficulty improvising and expressing feelings. Artificial agriculture and food, so they're not healthy. They're very fake, processed, unhealthy thoughts, destructive and polluting mind. July 12th to July 16th. April 12th, June 26th, September 9th, November 21st, January 30th, 7:20 a.m. to 7:39 a.m. Also, I just heard a story from someone today about how there was this person who would come into their restaurant, and this person would collect fish out of a creek that was at the bottom of this big mountainous hill thing, and at the top of this mountainous hill was the local town trash dump. So, oh my goodness, kitties. So all the runoff from the trash dump was going down the hill and into the stream where these fish apparently were. And then this man was basically collecting fish that were living in trash juice and then trying to give them to people to eat. I'm like, no, nobody took them. It's a health hazard. Okay, so again, April 12th, June 26th, September 9th, November 21st, January 30th, July 12th to July 16th, 7:20 a.m. to 7:39 a.m. Does not understand the sense of an ordeal, instability, inconsistency, going astray, feeling of revenge, persecution, punishment, fleeing responsibility, indifference, emotional coldness, evil forces, living by illicit means, acting illegally, delinquent, criminal, reaping the benefits of violence. What did I say? Corruption, fraud, theft, imprisonment, victim of judicial rigidity. So they're going to have the bug thrown at them now. July 17th to July 22nd, April 13th, June 27th, September 7th, November 22nd, January 31st, 7:40 a.m. to 7:59 a.m. Also, somebody's asking me why I'm not on screen. I guess I could be. I don't really want to be. Careful, baby kitty. You alright, honey? Silly goose, I warned you about that. A monkey? You alright? Move that out of your way. Is it better? My little buddy? You've been playing, huh? What's up? Yeah? Pickles. Tell me about this person in particular. Thanks. What did I just say? Cosmic reprimand by lightning. Somebody who maybe used to be in the family, in fact, ex energy, mad that they can't come near you, but they don't have an argument anymore. They never did. And there's really no hating on your body or exercise routine or mind, because really they're jealous and or very attracted. And it's why they just were obsessed and couldn't let go. And so kept trying to cause stress, either because they just couldn't let people go, which was stressful, or they were trying to intentionally cause stress because they were mad that people walked away from them, and that was like their way to punish people. Here's another one. The person who's been after me, I'll give you this example, has STDs, and I guess is mad that I don't. But this is a person who's lived their life very recklessly, and I didn't. Divine Masculine said, have you eaten? I said, no. But does this topic sound very appetizing? I learned today, I repeat, that the person who was arrested for domestically abusing me and has been lying about it all these years and bullying me based on claiming that I was lying about it, they've been arrested within the last 3 months for doing it again to someone else. I was never lying. They just finally couldn't keep the mask up anymore. Somebody says, is this one of the same people that's been involved with messing with your daughter? Yes. Dangerous. But they have no protection, and there is no more blocking movement forward, not communication, not information from coming through. Found that out today. Oh, and today's his birthday. I'd call that karma. Because that one piece of evidence unravels all his lies and his so-called motive for being abusive to me all these years and trying to justify it. The one thing says that everything he's claimed to be, which is a decent person, was always false, and everything he's tried to slander about me because I was whistleblowing on the crimes and abuse Well, that was false too, because he's a slanderer and a liar. And he was just caught for it again. 1422. Guess what his sign is? Today's his birthday, like I said. I'd call that karma. You see. Didn't I talk about that this morning? Or one of the last live feeds? This is one of the people who had me falsely arrested too. Because they claimed, they had me falsely arrested because they claimed that I was lying about the abuse while they were concealing their domestic abuse records, except for they just got arrested for doing it again, showing that I wasn't lying. They've been abusive the whole time. They were just trying to cover it up. And they had me falsely arrested, saying that I was lying about the abuse, which has just been proven again. And one of the times that they did this, because they did it a few times and tried more than that, I got bitten. I said it, I think this morning or yesterday, maybe one of the last lives. I got bitten by a bug in there, and it gave me ringworm of all things. It's very rare. Usually you get ringworm if you get it from like cats. Very, very, very rare. Like I found 10 to 15 cases, 5 to 10 cases that it's ever been noted. It does happen. It's just not very common. That was an evil eye energy. Because some of the same people involved with that, they're also in cults and play with black magic. And those are called monitoring spirits when you're dealing with people like that. They also tried to call me crazy for being a psychic medium, but then they would come on here and they copy all of my content to try to make money off of it. So is it crazy, or are you just jealous? Because if it was so crazy, why would you copy it verbatim? Exactly. They were just mad that I ripped the mask off and then cut their narcissistic supply off. No more energy vampirism. And they don't have a way to clear it out. They're stuck with their own energy. What I did was I held a mirror back to them, showed them their own reflection, and they didn't like it. I told you. I'm going to go now. I'm going to drop the mic on that. Please remember to pray. Do no harm. Take no crap. And I'll catch you in the next one. Toodles.